So, do you care if I've got my boxes in the background?
Not even a little bit. I'm sweating and dying, and I honestly like having conversations like this that are unstructured is just really enjoyable because everything else I do is structured and thought out. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like
So you're
I
going
can
the other
actually
way.
be natural and just free flow shit rather than like what should I talk about, what's the outcome of this video, that sort of stuff. There's no expectation or intention. Yeah. How is the training going, mate? Your training.
My own training or the athlete's training?
Yours is where I was going.
It's okay. It's okay. I probably the problem is I need to train for something like
Yeah.
I need something to channel it. Like
You're
I
right.
like training and I just like punishing myself, but I'd love to actually have a goal.
Yeah. I
But
just
yeah,
signed up for Challenge Wanaka in what's that, mid-February? Just the
yeah,
same thing, eh? Like I've had times where I've just like stopped triathlon. I only started triathlon and stuff just because for where you're at, right? Like
yeah, yeah.
it's something to train for. So I started doing that. And last year I just took the season off and just got like unfit and fat and just like still trained a bit, eh? But just with no direction or no intent.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I suppose I've been like that for a little bit. Like it's good because there's heaps on the street that they want to train, so there's a bit of purpose because it gets them moving too. But I get to move.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I'm like, I want to challenge myself, but I don't know if I want to go. I just don't think the body would like a massive endurance event.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
It does. Those are the only. I want something that challenges me mentally and physically.
Yeah.
But going out for 12 hours, I don't
Yeah, I
think
like
that's
the
the right
shorter
thing.
stuff. Just again, is more what I think genetically I'm better at. It's just like
Yeah,
shorter,
yeah,
faster, that type of stuff than like a half Ironman. It's just because I wouldn't mind going to Wanaka and doing that event, but
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
pretty happy just to chip away at that and not do a fast time because I don't want to. I know to do that I'll have to do some training,
yeah.
but to do it fast, I'm not pretty prepared to put in that much of it
Yeah,
either.
that's the hard thing for me because, but I do want to challenge myself.
Mhm.
But then I probably, obviously, we do the circuits and stuff, which is probably more not CrossFit, but going towards that category. But I don't want to do a CrossFit
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
thing
yeah,
either. So I'm like, I'm kind of stuck in the middle where I want to destroy myself, but I don't know
yeah,
what I don't. There's not a challenge. I'd have to almost make my own challenge, I think,
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
I don't know what that is yet.
Yeah. It does tick the boxes doing those circus stuff that we're doing because you kind of get that ego boost at the same time,
Totally,
right? Like
totally.
competitiveness, like yeah, camaraderie. It's like all of it's still all there.
Yeah,
Um,
because that's what I was like. Could I make an event where it's like you've got to climb this hill, you've got 1 hour, see how high you can get, and there's various exercises along the way that you have to stop at points and do,
yeah,
and
yeah,
then continue. Like something like that would suit me,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but I'd have to probably make it and then say, come boys, let's have a
Yeah,
crack at
you
this.
get someone else involved, eh? That's what I try to do too. I've got a few guys going down to Wanaka and that now too, and try to get other people to do it, just
Yeah,
because
yeah,
it's more motivating to do, eh? Like,
totally. And then I'll probably get I could get most of my street and a few boys involved, but I want it to challenge me as well. So I'm not, yeah,
yeah,
I'm in that space. I'm in that space. I don't know, in the in between.
yeah.
Something's coming, but I don't know what yet.
What it is, I channel that energy somewhere, eh?
Yeah.
I was thinking, with the chat they had the other day was real interesting with you and Andrew. Um, choice. You had a conversation about. What should I say this in case because parts of this will might keep in here, but we were talking about a person who'd been through some stuff and they his interpretation was like everyone has a choice and he's choosing to be this way. Where you're saying a lot of the
Oh,
choices are kind of made to how he is right now because of some things that had happened, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I was
Yeah, yeah,
trying
yeah.
to see it with a little bit more empathy
Yeah,
from
yeah,
the
it was
positive.
really interesting. Like, because for me, that's like that the best conversations, but I didn't want to get in the mix of the conversation because it was,
You should have. Yeah,
well, it was almost like it was interesting from the outside in to see each other's perspective of it because what you see when you're on the outside looking at that is two people trying to show each other their perspective, right? Versus like let's stop, see each other's perspectives and sort of meet in the middle.
yeah, it's nice.
But with choice, I was thinking about that as like, in your opinion, and with what the stuff that you do and what you see, how much do you see is choice versus
Yeah,
choices that have made have
yeah,
equaled to where the person is now?
yeah, and
Making
I
choices.
probably since I've been doing more of the positive psych stuff and
Mhm,
learning more,
mhm.
it's probably opened my eyes up. I was probably more down the everyone's got a choice, just change your mindset, get on with it. And I teach a lot of that,
Yeah.
but you can change the way you think. It's 50-50. It's that's the thing. I don't think it's a black and white answer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, we are, we talk about the old iceberg. So at the top of the iceberg is we see everyone's behavior,
Hmm.
but under that behavior, and that was a conversation we were having about that person. This is the behavior we're seeing on the top. There's a whole lot that's gone under that iceberg that's affecting that behavior.
Yeah.
Um, so your personality, what if you've got brothers and sisters, what number you were in the family, what you were brought up like, what if you were brought up with faith or culture or any trauma, like all these things are shaping who we are on the top of the iceberg, but we only see the top of that.
Yeah.
So, and from the stuff that I've been learning about is about 50% of that is innate in us. So we are born more pessimistic or more optimistic to a certain degree. And then what's happening in the world, a lot of that we can't control, which can affect that, which I think is about 40% is our genetic makeup, 10% is what's happening in the world around about, and the rest is up to us to control.
Yeah.
But if we talk about just well-being, if that 40% for you is towards the lower end of thriving, so pessimistic, perfectionism, a whole lot of stuff, your cap might only be a 7 out of 10. Where if I'm born with quite a high optimistic lens, we talk about a buoyancy vest, so when things happen, I just kind of bounce back up and can keep going.
Yeah.
My limit could be a 10. We can't control that 40%, but my goal is to get that person to their max, which could only be a 7 out of 10, and mine might be a 10. So when that situation came up and he was like, well, he's got a choice. I was like, well, he does, but he's had a whole lot of stuff going on in his life as well.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
That makes challenging things even more challenging for him. So what we talk about lots now is, and you'll know it and your friends, how resilient they are. For me, I've always got a buoyancy vest on. Things happen. It doesn't take me much to bounce back to the top.
Yeah.
Go to a workout, connect with mates, and I'm back.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Where some, it's just like they've got a weight vest on. They just sink. So
Yeah.
things happen, and so we all need flippers on to help us, but you might need much bigger flippers and strategies to bounce you back to the top. To me, my
Yeah.
flippers might only need to be smaller. So I think in that conversation, I was trying to allude to him. He just may be a bit more of a, and we know that he's got a bit more of a weighted vest on
Yeah.
for a whole lot of personality past. Give him some slack.
Yeah. I guess you've got the weight of other choices hindering that choice too, right? Like if you use your analogy and you go, okay, well, if you've got people around you that can help float you back up, right?
Yeah,
And he doesn't because of the choices he's made in the past.
yeah,
He's carrying that weight, and there's no one there to help him.
yeah.
Or even if he feels like it doesn't mean there is or there isn't. But
No,
that can be caused from a number of things, right? So it's almost like that tip of the iceberg, I guess, is like the immediate choice, like should I do this or should I not do this? But our decision making is all that stuff underneath, right? Like how we make the choice
yeah,
will be different.
yeah. And then the other thing with making choices is, and this is more of what I learned, which is really cool. When we are in that negative framework, we actually, we're going almost back to the fight or flight. So we're just zoned in, like we're really like zoned in on that one thing that's making me feel bad.
Yeah.
So we're not open. We can't see the possibilities. We're not as what's the word? So when we're doing work, we can't see and be open to what's going on. We're not as creative. That was the word I was looking for, because we're so zoned in on this is how I'm feeling. I'm just stuck here.
Yeah.
And our
Yeah.
brain goes to that bad part. So on the outside, you're like, oh, just, like I've done it, just get it, just get out of that mood. Like, come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
But when you're in it, you're fixated in and just feeling like that. It's hard to see those other choices and possibilities.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Do you see,
yeah,
or do you think that to bring you back up, like using that same analogy, you do need others. Like the way you described it is like, going for a workout, catching up with others, they brought you back up. That's
yeah,
potentially just you specifically, as in like if that's
yeah.
the way you are. Do you reckon others have the ability or would prefer to do that alone, or is that with what you would see, just a danger zone?
Totally. Everyone's got their own well-being strategies.
Yeah.
So everyone, what I might like, which is obviously exercise, moving, connecting with people.
Yeah.
I know if you would, like if I'm flat, let's go for a feed and catch up.
Hmm, hmm.
Let's go for work like we did on Thursday. Like that filled my cup up. I was like, yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Where others, they are more introverted, that
Yeah.
might be going for a walk up in the hills and getting a bit of the scenery and the kind of awe of being out in the world. Some are journaling. It's all different. But
Yeah.
what I will say is we are all like we are humans and we are bred for connection.
Yeah.
Like that is innate in us. And it's the number one strategy. Relationships is the number one well-being strategy to help people, like to
Yeah.
make them feel better, is relationships. But as we know, as we start feeling flat, we go cold like a stone, disconnect,
Yeah.
and go away from it, where we actually need to be open, vulnerable, connect with people. And if you go into the body stuff, which is cool around, oxytocin being released because you're having that connection, brings your blood pressure back down, all that cool stuff
Yeah.
to make us feel better, it actually happens through that connection. And me just telling you, hey, mate, I'm a bit flat,
Yeah.
you give me some empathy, you get a bit of oxytocin, that goes to me, we're all working
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
on
Yeah.
each other.
Energy change
It's,
on both
it's, it's
both
pretty
parts.
cool. It's pretty
Yeah.
cool what the body does by just that connection and being, hey, mate, I'm having a bad day. Like,
Yeah.
um, yeah, so when obviously back into that conversation, I was originally would have been like that, but I was like, well, hey, what's going on there? Like, it's had
Yeah.
pretty tough stuff going on. Like, we need to give them some grace, and then how can we help pick them up a bit, I
Yeah.
suppose. But again, I've seen it from the other thing when the family members like that and just get over it,
Yeah.
because the other way is if you're always negative, then that's going to pour onto me too.
Yeah, pull everyone else down with you, like
Yeah, so it's a real.
drowning everyone. Yeah.
So, and we talk about it obviously in sports teams, like if you're always coming in and you're being negative, it's cancer for the team. You're just bringing the team down the old time. But we also want to ask people to be open when they're saying they're flat. So it's a
Yeah.
real kind of
Yeah, for
oxymoron.
sure, because that's a real hard one as well, right? Like when you're flat, you don't want to share, you don't want to do the exercise, you don't want to do all the things that you,
Nah,
even if you know you should do it, like
yeah.
you just don't. Like, is that
So
something that, like, from sports teams and stuff that you were involved in on reflection, do you reckon you could tell the negative energy quite quickly from
yeah,
others?
yeah. The more you got to meet people, and as you know, as you can read people's, if you're a good at awareness of what people are showing without talking,
Mhm.
you can see someone walk in the room and go, hey, he's no good.
Yeah,
Probably one of my biggest, I wouldn't say regrets, but I wish I was good at reading people too, but
yeah,
I didn't take enough time just at that moment, maybe not in training and sitting down and going, hey, mate, you're good. Like, do you want to have a yarn about anything?
yeah.
Um,
I think that's a natural skill that's picked up being somewhat extroverted as well, right? So like introverted, right? Like, so
yeah,
always been naturally quite introverted. So therefore, whenever there's a group of more than 4 or 5, I would listen more than speak, sort of thing.
yeah,
So you just got to get that understanding and just get better at that skill as well.
yeah. And
Mm.
and for me in the other way, because obviously, I'm more of an extrovert. So like, when I look back on that conversation, I wish I asked you for your opinion.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
know if you'd want to give it,
yeah,
but I knew you were probably having some good thoughts about it.
yeah.
I wish I stopped and go, hey Tom, what do you think about this situation? Not more for the argument, but
No,
more
no,
to
but it's
learn
just like a
viewpoint.
different perspective, right? Like because
Totally, totally.
we all would have learned from that conversation. Because like again, because I'm more introverted, there was like we talked about you being more of a rhino, right? So he said something, you disagreed, and you sort of like straight into it. I would probably say I disagreed as well, but I just would have let it be. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
you know what I
You
mean?
don't need to.
Unless someone asks me the direct question, then I don't have a direct opinion.
Yeah,
So
and I think I wish I asked you the direct question because, as we all know, just because I talk lots doesn't mean I have the right answers.
yeah, 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 yeah. It's
But
just
I'll be the loudest in the room, and I've got
yeah.
to learn that actually just because I'm loudest in the room,
Oh yeah,
that's
but I do a disservice to you and say Andy as well if I have thoughts to share and don't. Like it
it's
would
true.
be both
It's
ways.
true.
Like
Yeah, totally. that
Yeah,
makes
I
sense.
just
Yeah,
keep my thoughts to myself, and then they're like, "Oh, let's ask Jed later down the path and have a conversation." Where in that environment, there were 4 people there that could have had a good conversation and all got something out of it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually really interesting when you look back now on that. Yeah, it was
Mm.
quite yeah, and probably a good example for me on this where I really had a shocker, and probably my worst moments. I was coaching a couple of years ago, and we had this one kid who wasn't in our team, and he was troubled, like just engaged, not engaged, quite fiery on the field, like loses rags. And I was going, what's going on with this kid, And got to a stage when we had training together. He was in a Colts team, we were into one team. We said we're training together, and the week before, he had a go at our manager, who was a lady, called her not nice words, and it was kind of locked in my head. I was like, oh, this kid's no good, in my
Yeah,
head.
yeah.
And then we got to training, and we were doing Colts Festival one, and we needed them training. He just sat out and said, I'm not training. And I just boiled and said, well, you might as well F off then.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And as soon as I said it, I was like, Jed. Like, but I got right in the red, remembered all that behavior, and hadn't learned, didn't really think, okay, well, what is the behavior? Like, this is what I'm seeing, but what's happening underneath here? Why is so? And then he wanted to fight me. Like,
Yeah.
it got escalated quick.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Like, and I got to the stage where I'm one of the leaders and coaches, first telling someone to F off, which is no good.
Yeah.
Two, it's escalated to him wanting to fight me, bringing his brother down, wanting to fight me, people having to take him away. And then his coach came up to me later and said, mate, that was, no good. And I was like, well, he did all these things though. Someone needs to tell him it's not okay. And he said his dad's dying of cancer and is on his last days. And this is his only place he can come to kind of get away from it.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I just went, oh, Jed.
Yeah.
I had that one choice to, when he did that again, I could have gone up to him, sat down and said, hey, mate, what's up? Why don't you want to train? What's going on? And
Yeah.
I might have not got that out of him, but that would have, like, I just escalated it out of nowhere. Yep, I was annoyed at how he treated our manager, and I just, like, I lost it. Like, even though, and really disappointed in myself. And then I just look back and go, man, like, I had no idea what was going on for that kid. That was one question, and like, he needed a bit of empathy and discussion around what was going on in his life, and I just blew it up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But the good thing was, really good kid. Nick rang him up that night, said, look, mate, that was really poor from me. Like, blah, blah, blah. Went round to his house the next day, kind of all sorted it, got to meet his dad, and we're good mates now. But at that time, real poor thing to do. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I had that moment there where I just could have, hey, what's going on for you? And I think when we were having that discussion the other day, that brought me back to that conversation again.
Oh, yeah,
Went,
yeah,
oh, hold on.
yeah,
Like, it's easy just to write off, but what's actually going on?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, then that's the beauty of being able to go through, like, for you to go through that learning though, right? Like,
Totally. And
that
the
learning
best learning for me.
like it now versus,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So always now, even with my kids a little bit, when I'm getting frustrated because they're doing stuff, I'm like, hey, what's going on? Like,
yeah. Kids are the
what's up?
perfect one though, eh? Because you do notice that, like, when you're under the pump with kids, how easy it's to go back to the way you were brought up, eh? It's like the way you were parented or your parents were. The negative stuff that you don't want to be like them still pops up out of nowhere sometimes, right? Like you
Oh,
just
yeah. And I'm quite, yeah. And because of the rhino,
yeah, 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 yeah,
I can rhino pretty quickly. I
yeah,
can
yeah.
get loud, and I don't mean it, but like, it's just,
Yeah, no, it's not like malice or like trying to be aggressive, right? Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Example, yeah, daughter this morning didn't want to go to school. So I was trying to get the other three off, and
yeah,
then she refused to put her shoes on, refused to eat breakfast.
yeah,
So I left her on the driveway,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
had to take the others
yeah,
by bike. And I said, you need to start walking. She's 7.5, real borderline age if I can do it or not.
yeah, 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 yeah,
And then, so she refused to put her shoes on. Keep getting texts from the neighbour saying, hey, Ellie's just sitting on the driveway.
yeah,
So I took the others, came back, and then she was walking down the street about 300 metres from her house without her bag with no shoes on.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And I was like, and I started to rhino in my head, like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was like, I could see it.
yeah,
And I said, just walk past her. I said, come on, come home, I'll drive you down.
yeah,
But so we walked home, got in the car, and I just said, look, I did say, look, it's not good enough. Like, you're affecting the family. I've got to try and get everyone else off.
mhm,
It's making it really, really harder. But I love you. And then kind of,
yeah,
but it took me all my energy not to rip her.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Like, and I was like, come on, Jed, like, think about this. Like, what's,
That little disconnect of like walking away though, can be that moment to sort of just like breathe, let it simmer a little bit.
yeah, yeah. And I could have stayed there, but I would have had all the others late. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
nah. And I had to weigh up, is she going to be safe?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, she is. She's
yeah,
not going to walk too far. There's heaps in the street. I'm going to be back in 20 minutes.
yeah,
Um, and she needs to know it's, yeah, it was a real interesting turning moment for me, eh? And she
yeah,
kind of got it without me yelling and having to go at her.
yeah.
But I don't always do that. But that
No,
was,
no, absolutely not. Like I always think, like sometimes if I'm like losing my shit or going to lose my shit with the kids, I kind of think about like others were watching me parent right now. How would I react? And it sort of just gives me
that's a, yeah,
the thing, okay, like because it wouldn't react how I'm about to react or how I am reacting. I'm like immature and it's a bit ridiculous because I snap out of things real fast too. Like I'm a pretty calm dude, so if I do ever
yeah.
react like 5 seconds later, I'm like, wow, that was this is a bit embarrassing sort of thing.
That's funny. Yeah. Yeah, we talk heaps now with the work too about, yeah, when you're starting to boil, what can reset you pretty quick.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, humor's obviously a good one.
yeah,
Funny kind of takes the energy out of the room, but
yeah,
everyone's, but it's again, it comes back to awareness, right? Like I was quite aware of what was going on in the past. I would have just gone off the handle.
yeah,
Then, oh, that, like I did with the kid with coaching,
yeah,
trying to be more aware of my thoughts and what was going on
yeah.
before I let that
It
determine
sounds
my
it
behavior.
sounds so easy, just be aware
So
of
easy, but no way.
because even if you are aware of it, sometimes you don't care. Like
No, yeah,
I
and
know
I
I'm
have, yeah,
being a dick, but I'm angry. Like it's
yeah,
just yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah. It's a real fascinating, and yeah, like with the model, same thing with the iceberg analogy. Is your thoughts and your feelings, how you think determines how you feel. That sits under the iceberg,
yeah,
but on the top of the iceberg is your behaviors and your performance.
yeah, 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 yeah,
So, it's like, and in sport, it's easy, or even with PT or whatever. If you're having a bad day and you're not training well or performing well, what's happening with your thoughts and feelings underneath? Everyone else only sees the performance part,
yeah,
but what's going on with how they're thinking and how they're feeling underneath.
yeah. It must
So,
create a massive positive or negative feedback loop as well with that
yeah,
using that iceberg analogy. Like with
yeah,
what's happening on top will feed back to the bottom of the
yeah.
iceberg.
So if
Essentially,
I'm going crap, I'm crap, I'm not feeling good, I'm crap at this, I'm failing.
others are reiterating
Chase,
to me that you're shit. You're looking at
yeah,
media. Oh, you're
yeah.
crap.
So my feelings are getting worse and worse. I feel like there's no hope, I'm done, I can't do this. Of
Yeah,
course
yeah,
you're not going to perform well.
yeah,
Yeah. But only everyone else only sees the performance, goes, what's wrong with this person? Like, what
yeah,
are they
yeah.
up to?
Yeah, and the interesting thing, I mean, you obviously like being more of a pro athlete versus say like a personal trainer. The two massive differences are when you're being seen as a pro athlete, a lot of the lower iceberg stuff has been formed, right? Because now you're being seen by others where you weren't last year, like
Mm,
internationally on TV, that sort of stuff. So you've had your time at being shit, but with the personal trainer, they've usually been in the industry, say, for say 12 months, and they probably are real shit. And there's a real thin line between being like overconfident and thinking they're good or
yeah.
thinking that they're real shit. Like it's because even like
Yeah.
especially online these days, it's like with health and fitness and personal training, it's almost like this weird bullying thing of like, oh, this person's shit. Like it's so strange when it's just like they're okay to be shit as long as they're improving. Like
True. So then,
everyone's been that shit trainer. Like you have to have been that person.
totally. And like you nailed it then, it's actually just about improvement and growth. So if we get out of this, this person's better than me, and I did this too, I was always worried about the person actually who was above me. And it's hard because they got your spot. What are
Yeah,
they doing? I've got to be them,
yeah,
really focused. Instead of, I wish I looked back and went, hey, Jed, all you can control is you getting better and growing and
yeah,
improving.
yeah,
And then if I just focus on that and they're improving, that's great. It's good for the team. It's good for everyone.
yeah, 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 yeah.
I'm not trying to cut them down. I'm just trying to get better.
Yeah, yeah. What can you do to put yourself in the best possible position to get that top spot, right? And
Yeah.
the rest is just it's going to happen or it's not. But
Yeah. And as we spoke about it, some of the stuff they're doing is great. So in your Fit Pro stuff,
yeah,
what's that person above you doing? Can I emulate that too?
yeah,
But then what do I need to hone in my craft that's my strengths?
yeah,
And then in
Yeah,
12 months you've gone from here to here. Great.
yeah. I guess the danger with the online thing again is in like I know we've talked in the past where as you went up in teams, you got to be around others who we say better, right? So you got to
Mm.
like lift up your standards. With PT, you know that doesn't happen. So what you do is you see someone who's making say $1 million a month, right? And you've got no clients, so you start emulating what they're doing. But it's almost like if so one of your boys starts trying to do what the All Blacks are doing from a training point of view away,
Yeah,
like
that's a good point.
where they need to just practice catching a ball, passing a ball, like the basic
Fundamentals.
skills, yeah,
Mm.
before they can worry about like how much can they bench, right?
Yeah, yeah, you're totally right. So then it almost comes down to the back. We to call it now that kind of pictures of performance. What's the core fundamental performance stuff
Yeah,
that you need to focus on? That's going to be part of your journey to get you up that line.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
what's the pictures of performance look like for you?
it's always that boring stuff too, eh? Like I know that you know when you look at the Sunny Bills and stuff like that, doing the the boring stretching type stuff, or the mobility work and all the stuff that they don't want to do. But it's easy to look at say someone like Sunny Bill and like just smash the curls because he's got massive guns, right? Like
Yeah, totally,
yeah,
totally. Yeah,
yeah,
and he's probably, and we've used him before, but his example of improving as a person, as a player, working out all those pictures, like what's his, yeah. So he started working on his mobility. So he started doing gymnastics. Like he was like, this is an area for me to longevity in my game, and he wasn't sitting there just doing 4,000 offloads a day and going, sweet, I'm done.
yeah, yeah,
Like this, but that was one of his strengths. So he worked on that lots too.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so keep adapting and improving.
Yeah, yeah, because there must
Um,
be thousands of Sunny Bills in around, right? They sort of just didn't even play or
yeah,
didn't put any effort in after they got to under 17s or whatever. Like,
yeah. Well, they just, and this is the whole talent versus hard work model, right? Like there is, yes, no question, there is some talent involved at the start,
yeah,
but after that, it comes down to how people work, what their environment's like, how do they continue to grow and improve, what is it, like how do they adapt
yeah,
when challenges come, how do they bounce back from that adversity,
yeah,
how do they keep learning from that environment and then go again.
yeah,
um,
yeah,
don't just see it as a failure the whole time, because actually you need that to keep going. Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Mm. And how's the stuff going with, I guess, the job, if we want to call it that?
Tato Fitu is good. We're had some relative success with a good chunk of athletes.
Yeah,
Obviously, some we've got a few success stories in there that are still going. Some that haven't really engaged, and then a lot that have kind of been in the middle. So what you normal bell-shaped curve. Um, but again, our first year, heaps of learnings around. We need a lot more cultural context around how do we bring the whole person into the, instead of just we this is where you are, this is where you want to go, where are the gaps, and let's support you in that, which is
yeah,
like the simplest form.
yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah,
we talked about, there's so much more to each person.
yeah,
Um, for want of a better term, more holistic around their family setup, their environment. Do they feel like they have a voice in their training? A whole lot of kind of stuff that goes outside just the norm of train hard, go to the gym, and
yeah,
you'll be okay.
yeah, 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 yeah,
So just working through all that. We didn't have a home this year, so we don't have enough. We've got a place that we can use the gym, but we don't actually have a home.
yeah,
Probably our biggest weakness and thing for next year is we want a home. These people can come in and feel like they've got a place to kind of stand and be training regularly and just catch up and have a cup of tea and a couple bits of toast and
yeah, yeah,
come
yeah,
say hello, and that
yeah,
connection piece,
yeah,
without it just being you've got 1 hour training, then we've got to leave here.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um, because those are the gold conversations, right? We go train with them and have a yarn and
yeah,
just get to know them more. So
yeah,
that stuff is probably the biggest opportunity for us for next year.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
and we'll make the
interesting,
best
eh?
happen.
When you talk about with almost purpose, eh? Like the deeper purpose of what they're doing and stuff is no different than what we're talking about, like
Yeah,
training for nothing. What we were talking about before, it's hard. Like, and
yeah,
this is just at a real low level when we're talking about like what we're doing. We're just trying to like not die of old age sort of shit. But when there's young guys with or young men and women that are without a purpose, it's when the stuff gets hard, it's easy to just let pull the
Yeah,
pin.
it is. And as you know, is when you're 17 or 18, you're really just focused on that next season or that next event.
Yeah.
So you're just trying to get, which is totally understandable because you've got to live in the now and get ready.
Yeah.
So, but we're trying to teach them, well, what does it look like in 10 years for you?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So you're trying to kind of add two layers.
Yeah. Yeah. I was listening to a guy, Jim Winley. Do you know Jim Winley?
No,
Got some books 531. He was in a podcast the other day, but he was talking about like the beauty of youth is it is that stupidity that can't see the future, right? And he was saying like if he had have been offered 4 years of pro ball but had to die at 45, he like he said he would have taken it because it was so
yeah,
old and it didn't make no difference. Like he that's the beauty of youth. You would do dumb shit, but that's where you can achieve a lot more.
yeah.
And with
You
that,
need to be that naive just to
yeah,
have a go, right? Yeah,
exactly. Like
yeah.
because you can only see so far ahead, and that's what must be so hard teaching them like what does it look like in 10 years' time? It's like, well, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like,
And that's the
it's
answer.
like,
They just kind of shrug their shoulders and be like, oh, I don't know. Like,
yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just trying to get through year 13 and
yeah, 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 yeah.
I've got exams and I've got this and um yeah, it's interesting, eh? And then and we've spoken about this test, and this affects us too. Like that when we're talking about values and purpose, but then with social media and life now, what they see with values and purpose online and people that they're sport that they're watching on Instagram, and it's a lot of junk values.
Yes, yeah,
So what they see they want to be is what they're seeing on Instagram.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
Money and
controlling the inputs, like what's going in, what are you seeing on a daily basis is going to alter the way that you think, right? So that when they see that, that's what they think is their values could be based around that. But it's
totally,
what
but
you're
that's not going to survive them, right? Like it's just,
because
it's
even
not
if you've
because
had success, you've got to like look at like you've almost got to figure out and fall in love with the thing that they did to get it, not what they've got. Because if they don't do the things that they did to get there, they won't get there. But that's the same with the person who's at the top as well.
mm,
If they forget what got them there, they're going to lose what they've got as well.
yeah, and that's and I fall into the I fall into the trap. I want this, so I look at this and go, and you talk about your fit pros, they're going, oh, that person's making this much a month. That's
Yeah,
what I want to make this. I want to make this, and it's like, was money the? We all need money. I get it.
yeah,
Will that sustain you long term? The
yeah.
amount of people, like you talk about all the Hollywood actresses, and they just they've got money galore, but they're not happy.
Oh,
Like,
and you can reinforce that so easily by looking at musicians, actors. Always, hey, like
it's just all they're seeing, though, right? We're seeing these junk values over and over,
yeah,
and don't get me wrong, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, there's actually some great value in it.
yeah,
But what am I? Is it what ego part is it fueling on me? Like I sent that post. I put a post out on LinkedIn. I don't post much,
mhm.
and for the first time, I was actually watching how many likes and comments it had.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
I was
yeah,
like, whoa, 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 Jed! Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I put it out there because I thought it was value for people, and that
yeah,
genuinely I put it out for that reason.
yeah,
But about 3 days in, I was like, I want to take it down because I'm trying to get my ego.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's feeding my ego, not feeding
yeah,
me helping people. And I was like, and that was just one post. If I'm posting regularly, but I want to post because I think there's some value for people. But I was like really playing in my mind, I might need to stop, like,
yeah, 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 yeah,
because I was like, well, but again, it's just self awareness again. In the past, I would have just kept rolling. But I was like, oh, that's just fueling my ego. I don't need to fuel my ego anymore. Like,
yeah, 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 yeah,
and that's what worries me with a lot of it's just there all the time now, right? So you're a 17-year-old. If I ask them in 10 years, they want to make money. Like they want to, is that, I don't know. It's really hard one, eh?
yeah,
Um, and like you said, it's just in your face all the time for a young person. This is life now.
yeah,
So how do you get deeper meaning and purpose and take someone to see the true value? And that's partly why we do a thing now. When you would have seen the deathbed article, when you die, so imagine you're on your deathbed and a journalist was going to write an article in the paper about your life. What would you want them to say?
hmm,
And you do that now so you can go live by what you want that article to say, because then
yeah,
your true values. So I've actually started doing that with the kids. So you're just about to retire from your sport in 18 years. Journalist is going to write an article about your career. What do you want that? What do you want that to say? Like, well, they can't answer it. They need to go away, which is
Yeah,
good.
it would be
But
very hard.
now we're actually starting to see what values they want to live by.
Yeah,
Is it, like they might come back and say the best teammate,
yeah.
who was hardworking, committed.
It,
Those are the main ones. But at least I'm getting something out of them about who they want to be.
definitely, yeah, because then you're going to go, well, let's just start being that person now, right?
Totally. So
Yeah,
then I say, all right, I want you to live that for the next 3 weeks.
yeah,
And then I want to come back and you give me a score out of 10 where you felt like you did that for the last 3 weeks.
yeah,
That's not about winning or losing or dropping the ball lots or
yeah,
did you live those values? If you
yeah.
did, then that's all we can control, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think if you look at just rugby players that you've seen, or whether you know them or not know them, the ones that are truest to their values are usually the ones that can thrive that way because they just are being themselves.
Yeah. And Artie Severe would be for me when I look at the team at the moment.
Yeah,
I don't know Artie.
yeah,
I know Julian because I played with him, but I don't know Artie.
yeah,
But I look at him and go, "You're rock solid, man.
yeah,
You're rock solid character. You know, like you're trying to help. You're the best player in New Zealand at the moment, close to the best player in the world.
yeah,
But I don't actually care about that. People want to follow you because of your character,
yeah,
because of who
yeah,
you are.
yeah. You'd almost like strap the boots on and get out there with them, mate. Like just like
Yeah,
now.
just from how he talks and
Yeah,
what he
yeah,
does
yeah.
on
You
his
feel confident
podcasts.
in your own ability
Yeah, he
because
cares about people.
yeah,
Yeah, and that's when I look at him, I go, oh, you're good, man. You're awesome.
yeah. A quick question, I just that popped up in my head. When we're talking about social media and the influence on, say, likes and being an influencer and stuff, how enjoyable was it moving up to playing pro on TV and stuff? Because like I mean that's a thing in
It's
itself,
an
right?
interesting one, eh? Yeah, because it's the same thing, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, the account, like looking back, obviously reflecting now,
Hmm.
the greatest joy was the accomplishment on saying I've made that next step up.
Yeah,
But playing well in front of people,
yeah,
like playing the British and Irish Lions in front of 40,000 people,
yeah,
would be one of my all-time memories.
yeah, yeah. Because you take away the 40,000 people, right?
Yeah,
It's different, isn't it?
totally. And it's probably one because I play quite well.
Yeah,
So it wasn't that I had lots of people watching me play well. I was able to play well with people watching me,
yeah,
if
yeah,
that
yeah,
makes sense.
yeah,
Like I was still able to perform knowing that there was a lot riding on it.
yeah, yeah.
So I don't think I wasn't.
You're not doing it for that reason, but there's a
No,
success here, right?
no, but it's a great.
It's
Yeah,
the reason that come up in my head when you said that, I was thinking like when I'm talking with trainers and some are putting out a shitload of content video and it's a lot about them, right? They're like trying to get clients by just posting videos of them working out. I'm like, how's that going to attract them? Because they've got a problem that they're trying to solve, and
yeah.
all they're seeing is you solving your problem. So that doesn't really work. The other side of
Interesting.
the
Yeah,
equation are people are too afraid to put themselves out there, and that must be the same as like when you step on the big stage and you know 40,000 people are watching, you could either embrace that or crumble because of it, right? Like there's
yeah, yeah.
two,
And I crumbled in the quarterfinal against my last start game when I was
yeah,
32.
yeah,
I played the Sharks and I crumbled.
yeah,
50,000 people at Absa Stadium in Durban, and I crumbled.
yeah,
But the year before, I played the British Irish Line kind of 40, and I played my skin out.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It is an element in itself, though, isn't it? Like it's
yeah,
not
yeah.
just about rugby anymore when you're at there, but you
And
also,
it's interesting you're saying about the posts. I started thinking about the posts.
yeah,
And that's, like when I told you about me putting that post out on LinkedIn,
yeah,
I think I went back to before I posted, I was like, do I want to post this?
yeah,
And then I went back to my values and went,
yeah,
what am I trying to achieve? Like my mission now is to help people grow and be the best kind of versions of themselves. And I sat there and went, am I doing it for that reason? And I went, yes. I said, we'll post it then.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Like that's what I went in my head. Because
yeah,
a lot of times I don't.
yeah,
So I don't know. I think even with your fit pros, I know they're trying to make money and get people,
yeah,
but come back to your values. Are you doing this because you genuinely want to help people?
yeah,
Or
yeah.
then post it.
Yeah, and that's the way that we get them setting up content is like what's the person struggling with, and just post things that's beneficial to helping them overcome that. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And
And
then
if
come up,
that's within your value system,
yeah, yeah,
then you feel fact that you're actually doing it for kindness and
Yeah,
love of helping people,
yeah,
then that's a good place to come from.
yeah. Because people will come to me and say, "Hey, can you help me build up my following, my audience?" I was like, That's not even close to what I do. Like, it's,
Nah,
it's not my
and like
strength.
we talked about, that's actually junk values, right? I'm worried about how many people I have watching me
Yeah,
and how much money I'm making.
yeah,
It's like when we talked about, like wanting to lose weight and all they're worried about that. Well, actually, what's your true, deeper meaning? Come
yeah,
back to that.
yeah,
You will get people wanting to listen to you if you're coming from good values.
yeah, yeah,
Like I want to listen to Artie Severe because of not who he is a rugby player, because of his values.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Just speaking truth, eh? Mm,
Yeah, and then we talk about the moment with the whole with Ronaldo at the moment and him being a not showing great character once he's been dropped.
yeah.
I
It's funny. This is how little I keep up with anything like that. I don't even know what's going on with Ronaldo, sort of. So
Oh, he got dropped from Man U and then sulked and did a big interview about how he should have been in the team, and then got dropped from Portugal for the last two games of the World Cup and sulking
yeah,
and he has been the greatest for the last 15 years.
yeah,
But now his character's being tested,
yeah,
and the team he could have galvanised the team by being on the bench and getting behind them,
yeah,
but he went the other way,
yeah,
and I'm just like, mate, like
yeah. It sucks, eh? Because it can really hinder a stellar career, eh?
totally, like he's unbelievable what he's done and how he's trained and who he is.
Yeah,
He's like LeBron, but like that's
yeah,
like you're tarnishing your character just from this. I know it's your pinnacle and there's a lot riding on it, and you've got a right to be gutted, but
yeah,
like there's more than you than this.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
You look at like a Roger Federer, where I felt was just the opposite.
yeah,
Like he wasn't playing at his best at the end, but
yeah,
he never sulked or
yeah,
he
yeah,
just stayed true to his character and his values, and
yeah,
will walk away an absolute legend no matter what.
yeah, yeah,
And I just worry for him. He'll look back on his retirement article now and say, "That's not all going to be what I wanted it to say."
yeah, 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 yeah,
At his biggest moment to show his character.
yeah,
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 it's fascinating stuff, eh?
yeah.
Yeah,
So, all right, we'll leave it at that, my friend. Um, yeah, another good chat as always.
yeah, good job, mate. Good start about the quick thing on the other day.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, again.